Now let us move on to another sutram which applies not just to the affix kta but applies to a variety of other situations as well. And that sutram is dhatu sambandhe pratyayaha, which is 341. Dhatu sambandhe pratyayaha. The Vritya of the sutram says dhatvarthanam sambandhe yatra kale pratyaya uktas tatonyyatrapi syuhu. Okay, so in this sutram, this dhatu stands for dhatvartha, the meaning expressed by the verbal root. So dhatvarthanam sambandhe. So in connection with a meaning expressed by a verbal root, yatra kale pratyayaha uktaha. So affixes which have been prescribed in a certain tense, past, present or future. Tataha anyatrapi syuh. They may be used in another tense also, in a different tense. In a different tense. If an affix is prescribed in the past, it may be used to convey an action in the future. If a affix is prescribed to be used in the present, it may be used to denote an action in the past, and so on. Right now we are focusing on the affix kta, and this affix kta has been prescribed bhute because the sutram 3212, the sutram nishtha, which prescribes the affix kta, is in the adhikar of bhute, which starts from 3284. But now this sutram 341 is going to allow us to use this affix kta, in a different tense than the past tense. Okay, before we take an example, let us continue with the Siddhanta Kaumudi. It says that ting vachya kriyayaha pradhanyat tadanurодhena gunabhuta kriyavachibhyaha pratyayaha. Okay, what does this mean? Ting vachya kriyayaha pradhanya, because of the primary importance of what? Ting vachya kriyayaha, of the action which is denoted by the tingantam padam, the action which is denoted by the tingantam padam, that has primary importance. Tadanurодhena means in keeping with that, respecting that, in accordance with that. With that means what? In accordance with that ting vachya kriya, and keeping in mind of the primary importance of that ting vachya kriya, the action denoted by the tingantam padam. And in accordance with that only, gunabhuta kriya vachibhya pratyayaha, the affixes which are to be used to denote a secondary action. That's the gunabhuta kriya. Gunabhuta kriya means which is secondary. It doesn't have primary importance. The affixes which are to be used after a verbal root, which denotes the secondary action, the connected action. It's not the primary action, it's a connected action. Then those affixes are to be used in the same tense as the tense denoted by the tingantam padam. Tingantam. Let's take an example to make it clear. Let's say this is example from the Kashika. It says kritaha kataha shvo bhavita. Kritaha kataha shvo bhavita. Now, kataha is a mat. Kataha is a mat. So if you just take the part of the sentence which says kritaha kataha, a mat was made. A mat has been made, was made, because kritaha, the affix kta, has been used, and as we have just said, that affix kta is used bhute. So kritaha kataha would on its own mean a mat has been done, a mat was made, a mat was created. But then the sentence continues and says shvo bhavita. Shvas is a avyayam which means tomorrow. So shvaha bhavita. Now bhavita is a tingantam padam. Tingantam padam, the lakaraha lut has been used here, the lakaraha lut, and as we know, the lakaraha lut is prescribed Anadyatane lut, which comes in the adhikar of bhavishyati. Anadyatane lut is 3.3.15, and that is the last sutram in the adhikar of bhavishyati, which starts from 3.3.3. Of course, we have studied anadyatane lut, so this is a future tense. So the tingantam padam is bhavita, and that has pradhanyam. So it is like you shift the scene to the future tense. The tingantam padam takes the entire scene, the entire event, and shifts it to the past, present or future. So that dominates. So when we say bhavita, means it shall be, it will be in the future. So shvo bhavita means it will be tomorrow, not today, will be tomorrow. So now what does the meaning become? Kritaha kataha shvo bhavita, which is the example from the Kashika, is that the mat will be made tomorrow, because that bhavita dominates, that is the future tense, that is the tingantam padam, and says this is going to happen tomorrow. Even though kritaha, the affix kta, is prescribed only in the past tense, now the entire scene has shifted to the future tense. So the mat will be made, but tomorrow. So that tomorrow is dominating because that bhavita is the future tense. So this is an interesting sutram. This sutram is not only with regard to the affix kta, obviously, because the sutram doesn't say it's only for the affix kta, but I thought it would be good to mention this sutram here as to how the tingantam padam dominates the sentence, dominates the event in the sentence. So we will see more examples of this sutram as we go along. So please keep this one also in mind. I know we are spending a lot of time on the meaning of this, on the meanings in which this affix kta is used, because I said in the beginning itself that this affix kta is a very, very important affix, an extremely important affix, one of the most used affixes in the entire language. So it is imperative that we understand the exact meaning in which this affix kta may be used. That is why we are spending so much time before we start deriving the forms, which we'll do shortly. But we have to make clear as to in which senses this affix term may be used, whether it's used active, passive, whether it's used past, present, or future. As a default, it is used bhute by 32102. As a default, it is used only in the passive because of 3470 tayore vrkritya ktak khalarthaha. But then we have studied 3472, which allows us to use kta in the active sense following those verbal roots mentioned there. We also have studied 32188, where we saw the affix the used in the present tense. And now we are studying 341, which is a broader sutram, but which also will affect the usages of the affix kta and allow it to be used, for example, in the future tense. So please keep this in mind, and now we'll start deriving the forms which result when we add this affix kta or ktavatu.